Hey guys, it's Saf here with another Raid Shadow Legends video, and today we have our first Hero's Path that's going to contain champion fragments. So the first one that's actually part of a fragment fusion event. Now, I'm absolutely not against this concept because the rewards of a Hero's Path generally is a little bit more favorable than a champion training event. Now, the key thing here is making sure that they haven't ramped up the energy costs so that it's not comparable, right? We don't want to replace a Dungeon Divers and a champion training event with a Hero's Path that costs us 25% more energy. We don't want to do that. What they've also done for this one is they've thrown in some bonus souls, which is nice to get. Getting a 2 or 3 star legendary soul is still quite difficult out of the soul summoning system, especially for some of these more powerful champions that you might have duos for. So you might not have these champions, you might not care for the souls, but the nice thing that I can see from this path so far is you don't really need to go out of your way to get these keys, right? You'll get them along the way, which some of the paths in the past have been like, okay, you've got all the way down to what you need, then you have to go all the way to the top, go down a completely different path, and waste like 10,000 points just to get the key to unlock what you want. There is 15 fragments available here. We've got some Chaos Dust, some Primal Shards, and an Immortal Soulstone here. There's also a 5-star Ancora Soul. So whenever I do these things, I always try to figure out a path. Now, there is a very efficient route, and you want to be careful how you get to the fragments. If all you care about is fragments, then this is the route you want to take. It is the most efficient way to do it. You're going to start with either path at the top. It doesn't really matter. I would say that 35 gems is a little bit better of a translation than energy, because 35 is only 5 gems away from 130 energy. But you might want to go the energy. It doesn't really matter. I would suggest you take the Immortal Soulstone, because if you're like me, I've got 48 weeks worth of experience boost. That's really such a low value. Core Hammers, those two sets now are pretty dead in the water. So absolutely the Immortal Soulstone. Then you've got a choice here. I would suggest you get both if you can, because I value these mythical charms incredibly high, because the mythical charms will give you the ability to force mythic gear with the right substats and rank and rarity. It gives you a very good opportunity to get that Perception, Rathalos, Lethal, all those, bolster sets into a mythical version. These charms, in my opinion, are one of the most valuable currencies you can acquire in the game. It's the best thing that came out of the city of Sintranos. So if you can get that and the oil, that's good, but I would recommend you take the mythical charms as a minimum. Then it's your first decision point. Now, just to make a note here, you don't have to get the oil to get the ancient shard. You should be able to go through both as long as you've got one of them, right? So if you come down the mythical charms, I can go either the coin or the ancient shard. It doesn't really matter. But if you take the ancient shard route, you will save yourself 1,000 points. Now, many would argue that they would rather the oil. I personally would say the same thing, but we're looking at the most efficient way to get the fragments. So we're going to take the ancient shard and the keys. Then we're going to get the 3,000 points here for the 5 Ancora fragments. Now, this is the next big decision point. You want to go the dust route, because the combined cost of the Primal Shard and the Epic Book is around about, 11,000, whereas the dust and the key is only 8,000. So you're going to save yourself 3,000 points. Then you're going to save yourself another 4,000 points here, because you're going to take the Chaos Ore and the keys. You're not going to go the powder route, because this is a difference of 4,000 points. So far we've saved 1, 3, and 4. So 8,000 points. And when you see how many points you need, those 8,000s are quite significant. Then you're going to get the 10 Ancora fragments. So that is the route that you would take the most efficient. I would go either of these, get the soul coins, get the mythical charms, get the ancient and event key, get the fragments, the powder, the dust here, the key, the chaos ore, the key, and then the fragments. If you want the soul, it's a 60,000 premium price on top. And if you do that route, you'll also get like 5 event keys. So that gives you the option to get 3 of these rank 2 souls and 1 of the rank 3, or you can get all of the rank 2 souls for an extra 3,000. Then you have to go chase them if you want to do that. So you don't have to go out of your way to get those event keys. That is the way I would do it. We're going to look at the various different paths and how it all calculates. The key thing I'm going to be doing in this video, which I haven't done in previous Hero Paths videos, I'm going to compare how much sort of experience per energy you get by running Dungeon 20 with food. It's a question I get asked all the time. You've done the spreadsheets for the campaign and Dungeon Diver separately, but what if I did it with Dragon 20 with food? How good is that? There's a Dragon 20 tournament starting, I think tomorrow, or is it today? Starts literally right now. As I'm talking, it starts right now. So there you go. So this is going to be 2250, I would have thought. If it's going to load, there we go, 2250. So how much efficiency can we get by farming this at the same time? That's what we're going to look at in this video. Now, the point tables are pretty good. They haven't messed with them. These look all about the same as well. So whenever I do this hero path, I make a spreadsheet. I'll put that link to the spreadsheet in the description and in the pinned comment so that you can go and make a copy if you want to, use it for your own purposes, check the numbers, correct any math mistakes if I've made a sum here or there. I am recording this for the third time because I made a few different errors just to make sure I'm accurate. I've been triple checking all the numbers here. We map out all the points and all the different requirements, and then what I like to do is construct the point requirements for the paths I think people are going to want to take. So I can see that potentially people might just take 5 fragments. Maybe someone is planning on going hard in times to ancients. They know they're going to get the champion chase points, so they only want the 5 fragments here because they can skip 10. It's going to cost you 11,000 points. If you want the 15 fragments, which I recommend the majority of people should and would go for, because you don't want to put all your luck on ancient shards, you might not be able to get to the point breakdowns. We don't know what the champion chase points are going to be, so I would definitely think this is probably a good idea. It's 34,000 points. So like I was mentioning before, it's about 8,000 points if you don't take the efficient route. So it's actually quite a considerable amount more points you would take if you took a different route to get to the fragments. So make sure you take the right path. If you want the soul, well, that's just basically 34,000 with 60,000 on top. That's the premium you pay. And you might want to get all of the souls and all the fragments. That's around about 119,000, I think, if I've done my math correctly. This number, I might have messed up a few numbers here, but I don't think anyone is going to want to go and get everything. I think that's just a bit crazy. So I like to always start with the dungeons because the dungeons is pretty straightforward to explain. The training is much more complicated. Dungeons is pretty straightforward. You get the points per quality of artifact, right? A 6-star mythical artifact is going to give you 64 points. We can put that into the table of chances of you getting a 6-star mythical, right? A 10 hard, it is 1.59%. So we can take the points, divide it by 1.59, and then we can work out roughly how much points per run we're going to get. Obviously, you can't get 1.0 points from a 6-star mythical because you can't chop that in half. But if you ran 100 runs, this is how it would average out. So it basically means that we get sort of 34.7 points on average per run of 10 hard and 31 points at 20 normal. But then we need to apply the energy consideration in which that, 10 hard is 4 more energy. So you can see what it works out is that stage 20 normals are always more energy efficient, even if they're less points per run. So we can plug that into this sort of analysis here, and we can kind of see that really dungeon divers is not the way to go here. If you want to get the 15 fragments, the most energy efficient route is doing 20. Technically, 16 is a little bit more energy efficient, but you have to do substantially more runs. So I always recommend 20 normal. It's just much better. You're going to do about 1,000 20 normal runs or 17,000 energy. So you can see that Dungeon Divers is not the way to do. You don't just run stage 20 normal without food and just expect to do it that way. Dungeon Divers is a bonus on top here. It's not the way to do this. Now with training, it gets a little bit more complicated. So there's lots of numbers you're about to see. I'm going to break it down in a very simple way. There's 2 ways that you can do champion training. I call it making food or making champions. If you're making food, it basically means you're making rank 5 chickens ready to be used, like champions up to rank 5 to be used to make a future rank 6. So that means you're taking level 2 to level 3, level 3 to level 4, level 4 to level 5. We're also going to be partially leveling champions along the way. So you can see here, I've got my rank 3 at level 11, I've got my rank 4 at level 15, and my rank 5 at level 25. These levels will change depending on whether you have the Forge Pass available to you. Right now, I'm going to set it to 0. I'm going to assume you don't. Or if you have the raid card enabled, which I'm going to assume you don't have as well. These numbers would change. Normally, if you're running both and they're all at max, you're probably going to be running something like 13, 18, 21 to be efficient. Right? The rank 3s to 13, rank 4s to 18, and rank 5s to 21. It works out that's probably the most efficient way, but I'm just going to put it here as like this for now. That's a good break point. So we're going to look at these 2 comparison points, making food or making champions. If you want to make food, then you need to run a certain level of campaign. We're going to be comparing 12.3 and 12.6 Nightmare here. So you need about 3.6 million experience total to make enough sort of champions to make a rank 5. So that's going to be about 141 runs of Brutal 12.3 or 62 12.6. Now we are going to get Dungeon Diver points this time, which wasn't the case with the Alatrian path. This time we are going to get Dungeon Diver points. So you will get quite a considerable amount of bonus points by just getting rank 5 commons, rank 4 commons, rank 4 uncommon artifacts from campaign. Now you're not always going to get an artifact because you might get a champion. We've calculated the opportunities here as if you are including the consideration for you might not get an artifact, right? These are the odds of what you get when you make a run. So on average, a 12.3 Brutal should give you a bonus 10.56 points, heart coins, heart points, whatever we want to call them this time. And if you're running Nightmare, it's about 15.18. So if we got to run 141 12.3? Well, we're going to get a bonus 1,486 points. So that basically means when we add this all together, we're going to get around about 5,473 points from the training component. In addition, we're going to get a bonus 1,486. And then we can work out, based on the number of points that we need, how many food champions we're going to need to make and how many rank 6 champions, how many actual champions we're going to need to make. So if we take this into my analysis spreadsheet here, we can have a look and we can see, right, well, we've got the 11,000 points here. That's great. We're going to put this to 12.3 brutal for now. If you want to change, as I said, I'm making a copy. If you want to make a copy, you can pick between which one you want to do. 12.6 nightmare will be more energy efficient, but it will consume your mystery shards at quite a rapid pace. So be mindful of that. So you can see if we didn't have any dungeon diver bonus, it would be about 1.22 to sort of 1.22 rank 6. So champions we need to make, or about 6 rank 5 chickens we need to make. That is if you had no dungeon diver bonuses, to the tune of about 7,000 energy, because it's always more energy efficient to run and make food than it is to make a rank 6 champion. It's just more energy efficient. This is where I was saying the dungeon diver points actually has a big impact, because we can save ourselves around about 1,500 energy from the bonus dungeon diver points we're going to get. So you can see actually the realistic outcome here is probably, if you want to get the 15 fragments, you're going to need to make around about 5 rank 5 chickens. That is to the tune of 5,503 energy. That is how much it's going to cost you to get the hero path done on average. If I was to change this to Nightmare here, then we can see it's about 4,800. So Nightmare will save you time and energy, but it will cost you your mystery shards. If you're low on mystery shards, you might want to run Brutal. Now, like I said at the start of the video, many people have asked me, what is the difference if they were running food in a Dragon 20 run? Right, that is a big consideration considering we have a Dragon 20 tournament. And you might be thinking that this is the best way to do it. It's very efficient. You're triple dipping. It's really good. I've seen so many people argue for solo Dragon 20 with 4 food, and that is going to give you significant efficiency points. Well, I kind of have a bit of bad news for you. Some people have been misleading you. That is not accurate. So let's just do the math breakdown and I'll show you how it's not accurate, right? We're going to get 14,454 base experience from doing a Dragon 20 run. Now, just to note, there is no experience gain from going up to 10 hard. The amount of experience you get at Dragon 20 normal is the same experience that you're going to get at 10 hard. You don't get any more for it. The only difference is if you run 10 hard, you're going to get better dungeon diver conversion points, right? You're going to get more dungeon diver points per run, but it does come out at the cost of the energy as well. So there's lots of numbers on this spreadsheet. Don't really worry too much. I was doing my own internal comparison on some of these from a different thing. So we're going to be able to boost our 14,454 energy with an XP boost. That's going to get us to 28,908. Raid card does not work in dungeons. So you can see even if I put 120% here, it's not going to add. The Forge Pass would. It would give you an extra 7,000, but we calculated the energy requirements as if we didn't have Forge Pass, so I'm going to do the same thing here. Which means combined, you get about 28,908. Now, obviously in dungeons, we can run 5 champions, the main solo champion plus 4 food. So we're going to divide that and we're going to work out as if you're running 4 food. So it means that overall, you're getting 23,126 experience. That is going to be contributed towards food champions, right? Experience. We've got our required experience to make 1 rank 5 here. We're focusing pretty much on a rank 5 over a rank 6 at the moment because that's the most energy efficient way to do it in our training analysis for campaign. So that is going to give us 5,473 points of making one of those rank 5, just in the training component. Now, what we can do is we can take that experience required and divide it with the 23,126. And that's going to tell us we need to run 158 Dragon 20 normal dungeon runs to be able to make a single rank 5 champion. Roughly, give or take. There's probably plus minuses, you could do brews. I'm just giving you a bit of a mathematical average here, which means that's going to cost you 28 energy to do those 158 runs. And then we can apply the dungeon tournament here. We can see we've got the same table in this background here. It's the same table that we used for the campaign. This is going to give us 4,964 dungeon diver points. So we can take the points that we gain from making that rank 5, which is 5,473, add it with the dungeon diver points we get from Dragon 20, which is 4,964, and it's going to give us a total of 10,437 hero path points by doing that. Now, obviously, that is not enough to get our Ancora fragments. We need 34,000 points. So we're going to take 34,000 points and we're going to multiply it or divide it with 10, 4, 3, 7. So it's going to tell us how many points we need to make. In this instance, we need to make 3.2 rank 5 chickens in this method. So that means if we take 3, 2, 5, 7, so it's 3.2, and then we multiply that with the number of energy it requires to make 1, the total energy cost for us to be able to make the required number of champions through Dragon 20 instead of doing campaign is going to be 8236. That's how much energy you're going to need to spend to be able to get the fragment requirements and do Dragon 20 with 4 food. Now, we already said, if I look over here, that we need to do 5,503 energy if we were doing it in the campaign method, right? If we were training everything in campaign. And of course, there is a Dragon 20 tournament that's just started, so we need to do that anyway. So we really need to go, okay, how much energy is it going to cost us to do the training in campaign? Then we need to factor in the excess points it requires us to do the training tournament, which is 2250 points, and then we can combine it. Now, I've got the odds of the actual tournament points from our sort of stage rewards screenshot. You can find this it's pinned in the helpful, useful information in Discord. Just to show what number it is, you can see it on the chart here. It's about 17.81 for a stage 20 normal run. We are going to be looking at stage 10 hard in a second, which is 18.94, but for now, it's basically 17.81 points on average in tournaments when you run a stage 20 normal. So with that said, then we can go, okay, well, it's 5,503 energy plus 2,021 energy, which is the number of points, which is 2250 divided by 17.81. That gives us the number of runs. We multiply it by 16 energy. That's how much energy we're going to need to run. So combined, if we were doing training and campaign, then Dragon on its own is 7,524, which is 9% more efficient than doing Dragon 20 with food. It is more efficient to run campaign for training and Dragon 20 tournament on its own than trying to do it in a triple dip system. Now, some people might argue, well, I only ever do Dragon 20 with food anyway. Well, that's fine. You absolutely could continue to do that, but I would not suggest you do it more than the 2250 points, and it will probably still be less energy efficient because you are wasting energy. Now, let's apply the same methodology for stage 10 hard, because you might go, well, I can do 10 hard solo. That gives me more dungeon diver points. Well, let's have a look. You're going to get the same energy. You're going to get the same experience. That is not going to change. The difference is it's going to cost you 20 energy per run now, which means that we're also going to get more dungeon diver points here. So we can put this here. So we're going to get about 5,482 dungeon diver points, right? Because we're actually getting 34.7 dungeon diver point ratio. So we're going to get more dungeon diver points, but it's going to come at a cost of energy. So we can combine these together. So we can see that we're going to get 10,955. Now, if we run this here, we can divide that. We basically shave off like a 0.1 from our training requirements. So it's going to cost us 9,809 energy, but we are also going to give it a fair shout. We're going to say, okay, 20. We're going to do Dragon 10 hard in the tournament as well when we're doing the training plus tournament comparison. And that's going to be at 18.94. So that is about 2376 energy if I was doing 10 hard to complete the tournament, combined 78979. So it actually gets worse. If you're doing a higher level, it gets worse. Even though you're getting more dungeon diver points, the energy cost doesn't offset. We know this. 20 normal is always the recommended one for dungeon divers and tournaments. It's more energy efficient. It might give you better gear, but it's going to cost you pretty much a quarter more. 25%. That's a significant amount more energy. We're talking, the difference here is about 2,000 more energy it's going to cost you to do this way. So whoever came up with the concept that doing Dragon 20 plus food plus everything is a good idea, actually no, it doesn't work out like that. It's much more efficient to put all of your eggs in the training basket. Now, you could argue, well, it's okay to do it up to the 2250, then go to training. I could probably see that. The math there would probably make it so that, yeah, it's more energy efficient, because this number here assumes you're going to do all of your training in Dragon 20, all of it. If you just keep doing Dragon 20, that's wasting energy. So if you're committed to this path, I would recommend you stop at 2250 and then go do the training in the campaign, because training in campaign is far more efficient. Now, the last thing I want to quickly do here is I want to show you the most efficient way you can do this, and that is going 12-6 Nightmare. You get the raid card. If you still had it from the Alatrian path like I do, then you could still have it active. You have a Forge Pass all the way up here, and that's going to give you so much more experience per run. It's absolutely crazy. So you're going to be able to cut your time down to 3,600 energy to get the fragments for Ancora. or about 10,000 energy if you want to grab the soul as well for those additional bonus points. That is as efficient as you can get it. So that is the hero path breakdown. Actually, I think it's quite good. I think it's okay. I would recommend people do no more than 2250 if you are going to be doing it with champion training, because that's just wasting your energy. You're much better spending that energy when you go to the just go straight to campaign and finish it off in campaign. I know it's a bit of a grind, but it's going to save you a lot more energy, which is very valuable. It's not too bad. I think when I compared it to a champion training event, I think 14,000 points on a champion training event roughly equates to 2,400, 2,500 energy. So it's a little bit more, but when we put it into the context of we would typically get the training event plus a dungeon divers, and they wouldn't always cross over. A dungeon divers is like 5,000 energy. So it's actually less than the dungeon divers could have been. So to be fair, it might be better for us, and we're also going to get a bit better rewards because those chaos dusts are probably more valuable. You know, the oil, the mythical charms, these things are better value than, 200 silver, a superior ancient pot, and maybe a rare book, which is what we typically get on those lower levels. Let me know in the comments below, guys, what are you chasing? Are you going to go for some of those souls? Are you just getting the fragments and piecing out? Are you going to be one of those people that gets 5 fragments and goes for the champion chase? And I'd love to know what you think about the hero path generally being infusion events. I think the rewards are better, so personally I like them, but obviously it's a democracy. Everyone's allowed an opinion, so let me know in the comments below whether you like it or whether you would not want to see this again. And of course, like I said, I will make this link to these sort of spreadsheets and all the different XP leveling charts that I've developed now since the Alatrian path. I'll put them all in the description and the pinned comments so that you can use these tools to plan and efficiently use your resources to get this done. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next video.